So I'm sitting here going on a walk, and my brain's been popping because actions speak louder than words. Love doesn't have to prove itself. Why is that? Because your actions will prove if you're aligned with God or not. Because God is love. Anything that's not aligned with love is not of God. In the Bible, it says we live in the truth. If you live in the truth, you would have to be able, you would be the person always telling the truth, not even 1% of a lie. Because lying, quote unquote, in the Bible is Satan. He was a liar, a murderer, a cheater, a manipulator. He was these, and that's not aligned with love. It's very fascinating. So if it's not aligned with love, and then like relationships and stuff, where you mess up and stuff, it's not what you could say to them to save your rear. It's through your actions. So if your actions are aligned with God, everything you do, thought, mind, body, soul, thought, and strength is aligned with love, with God. It has meaning to it. You're sowing in the seed of the Spirit of Christ. Can't lie. One bit. What is there to be scared of? You're gonna die on this world anyways. Well, this person might, well, that's the story. That person leaves, then look at it like I was honest with myself. This person left. Well, maybe you completed a test. Maybe you completed a test. Because what you don't need will leave. What you don't need will fade away. Very interesting stuff there. But yeah, I was just thinking about that. Through your actions, they'll know who you belong to. If you're lying, cheating, and all that, you're not of God, because true love wouldn't do something like that. Love heals. Love is harmony. Love does not create wounds. Some interesting stuff, you know. Interesting stuff. But yeah, it's like your love and everything has to be aligned. How do you know you're truly saved? Because you don't find pleasure in those things that are not love. Excuse me, I was burping. But you don't find pleasure in that. So you were a liar, but if you were truly saved, you wouldn't lie. Everything you did before you came to the truth, you no longer do it. You were given a new mind and a new heart. Not an old mind and old heart that's still attached to the emotions and feelings. You're given a new mind, a new heart. As scriptures say, the plate has been cleaned. You were bought in an adoption. But it says in Romans 8, adoption. Well, where the Romans did adoptions back in the day, and they adopted you, you were given a new name and a new life, pretty much, because anything that was attached to that old name, it no longer exists. If you look at the history of how Romans did adoptions, when someone was adopted in the family, there was not, oh, you were adopted. It's, hey, brother, hey, sister. There's no adoption there. It doesn't exist. Why? Because you were given a new name, a new way of thinking, and a new heart. And it's the mind and heart of Christ. You can also look at it like Buddha. Buddha is your heart sitting, entering into the mind of Christ. The heart sits here. Be still and know that you are God. So, if we look at a lot of these logos back in the day, or here now, you go online, look up the tree of life, and there's certain ones where it has the tree all full of leaves up here, and the roots look like a mirror reflection. But what are those mirror reflections? It's not bearing any fruit. So there's people, the roots are in darkness, but it almost have like a reflection of a tree, like a tree with leaves and a tree with no leaves. But if you look at it, it's like there's people living this way, and the ones that are in the light are living this way. Also goes with Plato's cave. They came out of the ground, out of the cave. So it's like the tree this way and a tree that way. It was in the ground like a seed, and they came out and realized life's not that bad. Life's okay, like, wow. Down there, they were scared of the shadows. Have you ever heard the term? People are scared of their own shadow. A lot of people are scared of their own shadow. Well, instead of looking at the shadow, have a metanoia, turn around and look at where the light's coming from. So it's like if you're feeling anxious, you're having all these weird thoughts and your mind's really overwhelming you. They're just shadows chasing you and putting you in a corner. But if you face your own shadows and stalk them like they stalked you, you'll realize there is no shadows there in the first place. If we're beings of light, we cast a shadow. So when we're walking, your shadow is right there doing everything exactly what you're doing. Some people are living in the shadows instead of living in the light. So it goes back to, I think it was Derek or somebody in my life that was on a video. And he said, you can have people in prison and say someone busted a hole in it and you had an opportunity to be free. But instead of taking that opportunity and leaving, you were scared of the punishment. Goes back to the elephant with the rope. Oh, wow. So by your actions, they'll know you. What is the very first fruit we learn? Patience. Romans 5, 1 Corinthians chapter 13, Romans 5, through tribulations, patience brings forth hope, which brings forth faith. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, it says, faith, hope, and out of faith, hope, and love, and out of all three of these, the most important one is love. I'm trying to find all these avenues, and it's just coming to the simple point of when you have a correct relationship with God, you have a complete relationship with yourself, which now you can show compassion, service towards others with no attachments, no unconditional condition. You just find joy in charity. Be of service. Service, charity. Interesting. Yeah. We always have those days where we'll see somebody and we'll walk by them and be like, should I go help that person? Should I go help that person? Or, man, that one lady, man, she's still in my mind like I was supposed to do something. Yeah, it's almost like the whole song, Jesus is in disguise, so is Satan. My grandma used to say, when we were little, going up to the campgrounds when my buddy Mike was releasing a catfish, she said, you never know who you're speaking to. It could be an angel or it could be a demon. But if you remain in love, you wouldn't have to worry about, is that an angel? Is that a demon? Is that good? Is that bad? Is that evil? Is that good? Is that great? Am I doing it right? You wouldn't have to do nothing like that. If you're truly in line, then you're on the path you were destined. Very interesting, huh? Very interesting. It's beautiful too at the same time. It's like, wow, you really don't know anything. The more you know, the more you don't know. So the more people are learning, it's bringing them back to the nothingness. Because none of it really matters. Just wake up, Dorothy.